tensions between Lil Scrappy, and it began at a public performance where the cast members had come to share their personal lives and exhibit their current music with their fans, setting the stage for a violent altercation on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Although there was a lot of excitement in the air, there was also a simmering hostility that was intensifying behind the scenes, particularly between Lil Scrap and Khaotic. Khaotic's brash demeanor has offended someone before, but this time it was different. The issue started when Khaotic made a derogatory comment about Bambi. Chaos Punch wasn't just a jab at Bambi. It was also a challenge to Lil Scrappy's boundaries and loyalty. The harsh remarks were meant to harm Bambi's reputation and honor. Lil Scrappy, who was known for always defending his family no matter what, experienced a surge of anger at that very moment. He looked up to see a scary calm come upon him as the crowd around them hummed with eagerness. Scrappy's muscles stiffened, and the tension in the air was palpable. Standing nearby, Bambi could feel the storm gathering because she had heard obnoxious and disorderly comments and knew her husband would not stand for it. The stakes were different this time, though, because Scrappy wasn't going to let anyone treat his wife badly, not in front of a crowd, not on stage, and most definitely not without repercussions. As the audience started to mutter in expectation of what was about to happen, Lil Scrappy hurried up to the mayhem, his patience becoming thin. He was used to being the center of attention, but he soon discovered that things had suddenly gotten far worse than he had anticipated. A startled silence followed the sound of Lil Scrappy's frenzied slap across the face as he raised his hand.
Hey, stop! Yo! Khaotic, what the is happening?
The entire confrontation is caught on tape, maintaining the raw passion and intensity of the event. The slap wasn't just a physical blow. It was a declaration that no one, especially not Khaotic, would disrespect Lil Scrappy's family and get away with it as the dust cleared. Khaotic staggered back, his sneer failing, his face now flushed with fury and surprise. The rest of the cast watched in stunned silence, some unsure of how to respond, others perhaps secretly relieved that someone had finally put chaos in his place for Lil Scrappy. Bambi stood by Scrappy with a mixture of pride and relief on her face. She had always known that Scrappy would protect her, but seeing him defend her so fiercely stirred something deep within her that knew they had a bond that couldn't be broken. The message was unambiguous. As the cameras panned out, the question lingered in the air: how would this change the dynamic of the group going forward? Would there be chaotic retaliation, or had he finally met his match in El Scrappy? Family first, no matter the cost, continued, but the atmosphere had changed. There would be no forgetting the slap that reverberated throughout the room, a reminder of the length Scrappy would go to for those he loved. One thing was certain, regardless of what happened next, this drama was far from over. Scrappy's muscles clenched, and you could feel the tension in the air. Standing nearby, Bambi could feel the storm gathering because she had heard obnoxious and disorderly comments and knew her husband would not put up with it. Conflict was nothing new to him. He had always harbored resentment and often argued with the other actors, but this time the stakes were higher, and Scrappy was not going to let anyone treat his wife badly. Lil Scrappy sped toward disaster, his patience growing thin, and the audience began mumbling as they knew what was about to happen. Not on stage, not in front of a crowd, and most definitely not without consequences. Despite the confusion and smirk, he didn't back down because he was accustomed to being the focus of attention, but he soon discovered that the situation had suddenly gotten much worse than he had anticipated. The room echoed with the sound of Lil Scrappy's desperate slap across the face, followed by a frightened silence. The video captures every moment of the fight, preserving its raw intensity and passion. As the dust settled, the slap was more than simply a physical reprimand. It was a statement that no one, especially not Khaotic, would treat Lil Scrappy's family disrespectfully and get away with it. Khaotic stumbled back, his face reddened with astonishment and rage, his sneer faltering. Bambi's expression was a mix of comfort and pride as she stood by Scrappy. Although she had always known that Scrappy would stand up for her, She was sincerely moved to see him do so strongly. She understood their unbreakable bond, and Scrappy's action at that moment was stronger than words. In startled silence, the rest of the cast watched. The question of how this might alter the group's chemistry moving forward hung in the air as the cameras panned it out. Would chaos strike back, or had little Scrappy finally shown to be his match? Maybe some people secretly felt happy that Lil Scrap had finally been replaced with chaos. The message was unmistakable. Family comes first, no matter what. The play went on, but the mood had shifted. The slap that reverberated throughout the room would never be forgotten as a reminder of the extent Scrappy would go to for the people he cared about. He was used to being the center of attention, but he quickly realized that the situation had suddenly become far more complicated than he had anticipated. Whatever happened next, one thing was for sure: this drama was anything but a complete mess. He didn't back down from his smirk. Little Scrappy raised his hand and slapped him across the face in a panic. The slap echoed around the room before a frightened silence fell. The cast members had come together for a live performance to share their personal lives with their fans and perform their most recent songs. Although there was a lot of enthusiasm in the air, there was also a growing undertone of hostility, especially between Lil Scrappy and Chaos. Although someone had before been irritated by Khaotic's brash nature, this time it was different. The altercation between Khaotic and Lil Scrappy Bambi became heated. The goal of Lil Scrappy's wife's vile comments was to harm Bambi's reputation and honor. Khaotic was not just mocking Bambi when he hurled his jab. He was questioning Lil Scrappy's loyalty and limits. Lil Scrappy, who was known for always defending his family no matter what, experienced a surge of anger at that very moment. He looked up to see a scary calm come upon him as the crowd around them hummed with eagerness.